Have you ever heard the old expression, when it rains, it pours? I think whoever came up with that has today in mind. Today is gonna suck. We're actually in Elkhart, Indiana right now. Driving here, we didn't have any problems. We didn't notice anything. However, the other night I was just sitting outside, just enjoying an evening. I looked underneath on our chassis or underneath the RV, and something didn't quite look right. And then I noticed one of our shackle bolts is missing. And basically what that is one of the bolts that holds our leaf spring to the frame. Not a very good situation. Luckily we got here, nothing happened, and we didn't even notice it. Like I said, driving, never would have known this. The only way we found it was just happened, coincidence, looking underneath to see it. I do have some bolts on order. They're supposed to be here tonight by 10 o'clock. I can't really wait that long. Today is Sunday, I have to work tomorrow. I've never done this before, so I'm going to try to get started early. I'm going to have to probably end up creating twice as much work for myself, but I do want to be able to figure out some of the nuances on how to do this. I'm really concerned about trying to line this leaf spring back up. I did go to Tractor Supply this morning. They do have some bushings. These bushings are supposed to fit this our suspension system. And they also have some shackle bolts. These are 9/16 by 3 inches long. It's a pack of 4. Now MORryde, I actually ordered some from MORryde. They have a complete kit for the whole underneath, the whole suspension system. So these I'll probably use as a backup or something like that eventually. But the difference is, these are not wet bolts, and what that means is a wet bolt has a Zerk fitting on the end, so once you install it, you can still apply grease inside between the bolt and the bushing. These don't have Zerk fittings, but again, I'm kind of in a pickle. I don't want to wait until, up to 10 o'clock tonight to try to get this project started. My theory is, or my thought process is right now, if I can, I'm going to get as much done as possible before my parts come in. Hopefully I'm at a good stopping point when they get here. If not, I will use one of these bolts. I will put it in from the opposite direction that I want to put my wet bolt in as a temporary holder, just to get everything lined up and in place. Once my wet bolts come in, I'm hoping I can just kind of push it through and push the other one out. That's the game plan. I have no idea how I'm going to do this yet. I do know that I'm going to go ahead and pull the back tire off. That can't be good. I want that out of the way, so I'll at least get that done and just try to get as much prep work done as I can before my parts get here. I really don't know what tools I'm going to need for this. I pretty much have everything that I own here with me. I did purchase a 2x4. I don't know if I'll need that or not, but I'm kind of thinking I might need something to really pry with. Hopefully I don't need it. I can always cut it in half if it's too big, but it was only $3, so I figured it'd be worth it. Save me a little bit of time for going back to the store if I didn't have to. I do have my bottle jack from the Ford F350. I do have a torque wrench. It's my understanding that these do have to be torqued down to 40 foot-pounds. I read that online, but I will verify that with MORryde tomorrow when they open. I also have an assortment of sockets. I have an assortment of larger sockets. Those are, I believe, a 1 inch, and these I have anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 drive here. And in my toolbox is just an assortment of tools. So hopefully this is all we need. Hopefully we don't need any more. I do have a grease gun also. First thing we're going to do is try to get this tire off and get it out of the way and see what we're going to work with. I got the tire off. I just used the bottle jack from the truck, got up underneath there. Hopefully you can get a little bit better view. I'll try to get a little bit better view for you with the GoPro. See exactly what we're dealing with. There's a bushing that's supposed to go in here, and then our carriage bolt's going to go through here. The problem that I'm really concerned with is getting this lined up with this. Pretty sure the very first thing I'm going to have to do is to release this jack so this has a little bit of play with it. So like I said, I've never done this before. I got some suggestions online. We'll just have to see how that goes. I do think though I'm gonna have to at least take this off the bottle jack. I'm gonna use a 2x4 to see if I can move it. Maybe I'll get lucky. If not, I think the next thing I'm going to try to do is to use the jacks from the RV and raise this side up a little bit, at least to get that second tire off the ground. And then I should be able to hopefully pry it back into place, but we'll see how that goes. So I think right now I'm just going to try to get this bottle jack off and see if I have any movement at all, see how hard this is going to be. I let my bottle jack all the way down. I'm kind of afraid to pull it out of there. It's just a lot of weight just hanging there. So I think what I might try to do now is to raise up this side of the RV with the RV stands. It's probably not the best thing to do, but then again, these bolts aren't supposed to fall out either. So I'm kind of in a bind. I have to get this done today. I had no choice. I got to go to work tomorrow. So I got to do what I can do. And Dean is here. I'll grab her if I need some more help, but pretty much on my own today. I experimented a little bit. I didn't want to show you guys every little thing I do. I took the rear axle, I lowered my bottle jack as low as it would go, and it eventually was just hanging there without the bottle jack, so it was kind of hanging freely. I did try to pry over here. Let's see if I can show you. I tried getting the 2x4 in here and just prying. Hopefully I could, get this back. That didn't work. I tried prying up even on the other leaf spring for the middle tire. That didn't work. So the next thing I did was I ended up starting to raise this side of the RV up. And my thought process is getting weight off of the middle tire, and then hopefully I can pry this around to where I need it till it gets to where it needs to be. That, I believe, is going to work. I was able to move it around enough to get the rear spring fairly close, actually. So I think what the process is for me is going to be is raise this side up, get weight off the side. I'm going to have to put the rear axle back on the bottle jack, and I think I'm going to have to use the jack itself for fine tuning. So Dean is going to maybe have to raise the RV up a little bit. I might have to do the bottle jack and either raise or lower the rear axle to get it in place. Hopefully that works. Now, with that said, I did get an update from Amazon. My part's supposed to be here between 2 and 5 today. It's about 11:30 right now. So I got a decision to make. I can either put a temporary part in, plug all, get all this done and lock it up, and then I'm going to have to put my wet bolt in at some point. I'll have to take it out and kind of do the whole process over again, or just wait until the part comes in and go ahead and do that one time. I think that's what I'm going to do. I did want to prove to myself first, though, that it looks like I can get the spring back in place. That was my main concern. So I think what I'm going to do, instead of wasting time, I'm going to go ahead and torque down all these other bolts. I want to make sure they're up to spec. And again, what I read, it's 40 foot-pounds on these bolts. I am going to verify that with MORryde tomorrow, but I don't want to waste time. I don't want to sit here. I at least want to make sure they're pretty dang close. So at least I can get that much stuff done while I'm still waiting on my part. Once my part comes in, we'll start the video back up and hopefully get this thing done today. All right, let the games begin. My parts came in. This is the wet bolt. This is what I was waiting on. I did have another bolt that I picked up from Tractor Supply I was telling you about earlier, but it does not have the Zerk fitting on it. So what that would have meant was I could have put all this back together. Once my parts came in, then I would have to go back, take the old bolt out and put this one in. Luckily, this one did came. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon right now. I've been waiting all morning for it. So this came in. I'm still a little nervous about how to line this up. I might have to get Dina to give me a hand. We are definitely going to use the jacks on the RV to get some tension off these tires to help us move things around a bit. But I think it's just a matter of getting this in, putting some grease on it, and trying to get the things lined up. So let's see what happens. All right, again, I've never done this before, so we're just kind of winging this, but the very first thing I'm going to do is put this bushing inside the leaf spring. These bushings, all they are, they just kind of help take some of the impact between the bolt and the springs, because you got to think this going down the road, it's a constant vibration in there. This kind of basically takes the brunt of the force, and it kind of protects your leaf spring and the bolt itself. So these are brass bushings. We're going to go ahead and get one in. I'm going to grease up the outside, and also going to put a little bit of grease on the inside as well. All right, the job's just starting and I'm already a mess. Hopefully you can see this. This is the benefits of these bolts with the Zerk fittings on it. You don't have to take these off. You can, once or twice a year, just put a grease gun on your Zerk fitting. You can see this little hole right here. And when you shoot grease in that, grease is going to come out, and you're going to have your bushing around it. So this keeps a little bit of grease in between the bolt and the bushing. So I think the easy part's done. Now we got to see if we can get this baby lined up. Wow, we might have a bigger problem than this.
Why?
This whole thing's bent.
Is it?
Pretty good. Did it go through?
Yeah.
The threads are on the outside? Here's what we ended up doing. This bracket right here that the bolt goes through, I didn't notice it before, but the whole back is bent outwards a little bit. So the wet bolt that I want to put in there wasn't quite long enough. It's like a 3-inch bolt. What I did, the bolts that come with the linkage, they're a little bit longer. So I put one of those in. I'm going to try to see if it's enough that I can kind of suck it in, tighten it down, and hopefully suck it in enough. And then, if I can, take this bolt out, put the other one in. But worst case scenario, this is going to have to go to the shop. I don't feel comfortable driving around with that bracket bent the way it is. So if I want to get this to a point where we can at least get it to a shop safely. Okay. All right.
Ladies, get yourself a smart hubby.
All right. Partial success. So here's the story. What we found out doing this is I do have the bottle jack. I had to take this tire off. I have the bottle jack underneath. I used the bottle jack to kind of fine tune getting this in. We did use our stabilizers on the RV to raise the RV this side up as high as we could to take some pressure off the suspension to help me so I can move it a little bit better. We did get this pretty close, probably within an inch of the hole, and I ended up using this ratchet strap, and I give credit to Jarhead and Ginger. I think Scott actually had the same problem a while ago. I watched his video, and he gave me the idea to do this, and it worked actually. So I just had to suck this in about an inch. I got a bolt in. Now the problem is this bolt's too long. The bolt is for this shackle. The shackle's a lot thicker than this bracket right here, so it's too long, but because what happened is this piece is bent on the back, so it's kind of bowed out like this, so the bolt going through is just not quite long enough. But I think it's good enough. I can take it. Believe it or not, we're in Elkhart, Indiana, probably the best place in the world to break down. There's places all around us, so I think tomorrow's Monday, we're going to have to call someplace, see if they can come, fix this. They either come out here, we have to take it to the shop. But at least now this is up. We're going to just go ahead and put the tire back on, lower this back down. All right, it's been a long day and I'm tired. Just to kind of wrap everything up for you, kind of let you know where we stand and what happened. We're in Elkhart, Indiana. We did a 300-mile trip here. Never heard any strange noises, no wobble or anything like that in the trailer. We're here for 2 weeks. We have a week to go. A couple of nights ago, I noticed that the leaf spring was hanging in the back. And what it was due is because of one of these shackle bolts. Basically fell out and is gone, and of course the bushing in there is gone too. It's the bushing and shackle bolt that holds your leaf spring to your frame. So it was gone. So I had to kind of scramble around and try to find some shackle bolts. Lazy Days is right next door. They didn't have any in stock. There was a trailer company close by. They didn't have any in stock. This was Saturday. We were calling around. We couldn't find anything. Then I remembered Tractor Supply. They have a tractor supply store down the road. So I ended up going there this morning. They actually carry these in stock. These are 9/16 by 3 inches. Who knows, might be worth keeping a set of these around. They only had the nylon bushings. I went ahead and grabbed them anyways. I wasn't sure if my parts were going to come in today or not. The way this worked for me, I may not have done it the right way, but what we ended up doing, I took the rear tire off. I just wanted that one thing out of the way. And I put my bottle jack underneath the rear axle, so that's the one that was missing the bolt. And then I had Dean to raise up this whole side of the RV as far as it would go. It's still, the tires weren't quite off the ground. I think if they were off the ground, it would have been a little bit easier. But at least we did take some of the tension off the tires, off the suspension. And then what I did is I used the bottle jack to kind of raise the leaf springs up and get as close as I could to the frame. I was still about an inch off. And honestly, I was kind of stuck at that point. I really didn't know where to go from there. And then I remembered something. And again, I'll give credit where credit's due. Jarhead and Ginger's Journey, they're another YouTube channel. They kind of went through the same process. I just watched their video a couple weeks ago. I think they rubbed off on us because we've got the same problem now. But Scott, he used a ratchet strap on his. So I did the same thing. I took a ratchet strap and I ended up getting it that extra inch or so and lined it up and got a bolt through. Now, theoretically, I would have been done at that point, but the problem we have, the bolt that I need to go through there is a 3-inch bolt. When that bolt was missing, that whole bracket bent out. It kind of flared out. So now a 3-inch bolt won't go all the way through it. Luckily in this kit with the linkage, these bolts are a little bit longer. I'm guessing maybe 3.5 inches. I could get a 3.5-inch bolt through there to hold it in place. I was hoping I might be able to suck it down enough to bend that the frame back to put the other bolt in. I can't do it. It's already bottomed out actually. So I have the wrong bolt in there, but at least the leaf spring is intact and it's in place. I'm not going anywhere anyways with that rear bracket the way it is. I do feel comfortable enough going in town here, 5 miles or so down some back roads. I feel comfortable enough to do that, but there's no way we're heading across country like this. So that's where we stand with that. I want to give you an update on that hanger, that bracket that was bent. The next day after we got the leaf springs back into place with the wrong wet bolt, my very first call I did was to MORryde. The only reason is they were the first ones open. I'm kind of in panic mode right now because we only have 1 week left in Elkhart and I need to get this fixed. I did speak to MORryde tech support. They were very, very helpful. They gave me some part numbers and some more information, but they did suggest that I call Grand Design tech support. So that's what I did. Grand Design, honestly, I have mixed emotions, and I'll tell you why. We called Grand Design support, explained to them what happened. I told them that hanger bracket was bent. The person I spoke to told us to bring the RV to the Grand Design service center, which literally is about 7 miles down the road. Now what that means for us is, because we're full-time, we had to pack everything up, run the RV down to the service center, and honestly, I didn't care, because if I get this fixed, it really sounded promising. If I get this fixed, that didn't bother me at all. But when we got to the service center, the lady came out to look at the RV. Long story short, she basically told us they couldn't do anything for us for another 4 months. There's no way I'm staying in Elkhart, Indiana for 4 months waiting. They suggested we go somewhere else, like a trailer or a repair shop or something like that. At this point, we're a little frustrated with the guy, the service tech, who told us to go to the service center. So we actually called him back and specifically asked for him. We explained to him the situation. We told him, we're not that happy. 4 months is kind of ridiculous. He then told us what was supposed to happen is they were going to take a look at it. If the service center could fix it quickly, they would do it. If not, it would be up to Lippert to fix it. It's the Lippert component, and they would Grand Design service center would help us with the information we needed and get in contact with Lippert and all that. They didn't do that at the service center. However, the tech support guy that we spoke to, he gave us all the information we needed, like the serial number to the frame, and I think the suspension serial number, if I remember correctly. He also gave us the number to Lippert, and he actually notified Lippert for us, explained to them the situation, and Lippert ended up emailing us back a couple hours later, honestly. So Grand Design, again, honestly, just mixed emotions with tech support. The guy on the phone was great. The lady at the service center, I wasn't too happy with. Lippert was able to get us into their shop the coming Friday, which this was Monday, so 5 days. So we had to sit there in the campground for 5 days, but we had an appointment 7 a.m. at Lippert. We did go there, but we were there at 6:45. They actually took us right in. It was about a 2-hour repair. They actually cut the old hanger off, put a new hanger on, and we were literally done in 2 hours. So we have a new hanger in the back, everything, the correct bolts in, and everything should be good to go. They reinforced it like the other one was as well. So we do have, everything should be top notch. Now, we actually left Elkhart since we had this repair. We're now about 200 miles west of Elkhart, so we did drive on the repair. I checked it when we got here. Everything seems fine. So hopefully we're good to go. But hopefully you got some information out of this. There's some part numbers I showed you in the video, and maybe some hints on how to do it or how not to do it. So anyways, this is RV life, right? Remember, always live life to the fullest.